Well, through the Chess Base India YouTube channel, I have had the privilege to bring forth to you some of the most amazing talents in the world of chess. In India itself, we have had IMs happening at the age of 10 years, 11 years, and at 12 years, we've also started getting GMs. Today, I'm going to speak about one such talent, but his talent goes beyond just normal over the board chess. So, what am I speaking about? Well, I'm talking about this young lad, Christopher Yoo, whom you can just see on your screen. He is 12 years old, he's from USA, and he's already an international master. That's in itself great, but he is a brilliant chess composer. The position that you see on the screen right now has been composed by Christopher himself. So here's my challenge to you. It's white to play and win. So you have to take the white pieces. These two pawns are going this way. And so you have to find the win. This has been composed by Christopher Yoo. So once you think about it, take some time. It's not so easy. Then start this video and look at the solution. The first move looks very simple. You play king g7 and you want to queen one of your pawns. But of course you must look at the defense as well. Knight to f4. Now knight is coming to e6 and it will stop the pawn. Of course, making a queen makes no sense because I can give a check and then I can take on h8 and black is winning. At the same time, f8 queen also doesn't work because of knight to e6. So what do you do? Well, first of all, white is going to play f8 knight. Now what you have done is not just promoted your pawn, but actually shielded your pawn from the rook. So now you can play h8 queen. Okay, what should now black play in this position? Well, there's nothing much that black can do because if you went knight to g6, then I can just take and then make a queen and I'll be a piece up. Or I can also go knight f8 back and I'll make a queen. So that is the issue here. So king to b6 makes sense, and here is where I think this move king b6 is not so easy to see if you are not looking at the resources for your opponent. The point is that if you make a queen here, I can play rook into f8, and after queen into f8 there is knight e6, and if you take king into f8 there is knight g6. At the same time, if you move your queen, let's say to h1, then I can go knight e6 check. And overall, this position is not winning for white. It's a draw. So your task at the beginning, as I said, was white to play and win. So this is not going to work out. Hence, what you have to do is wait for making a queen right now and play king f7. If you spotted this, good job, but it's not over. There is still a lot of depth to this. Now the play continues with knight to e6, and as we have already said, knight g6 doesn't make sense. You take and then the knight jumps back to f8 and it's not going to work. So knight e6, good move, knight into e6 and rook h8. So now I'm going to give up my rook for this pawn and then I'm going to take on c6 and somehow with my king and two pawns try to draw the game. But Christopher has a brilliant solution in mind. So king g7, you must sacrifice, king takes and king c6. So what is happening here? Now we started off with something really different kind of a position over here. This was the position we began with, and we have landed up in a knight versus pawns endgame over here. So it itself is a nice transformation. So king g6, you come back, and now black can be really tricky and play king to d6. Okay, black could also play king d5, but after king f5, c6, white has the very nice move d3, and this is a position of reciprocal zugzwang. Reciprocal zugzwang means if it's white to move, he is in trouble. If it's black to move, he is in trouble. Because if black plays c5, which looks like the only logical move, I can just take, and this is winning. While if it is white to move, there is no real good move, because if you move the knight, then king d4, it would be a draw. So instead of playing king d5, you can play king d6, Then white must play king to f6. Not king f5, because then, as we know, after king d5, d3, c6, Zugzwang. So king f6, king d5, king f5, and after c6, d3, and white wins the game over here. There is absolutely no way for black to hold on to his position. So this was beautifully composed, and it was given as a problem in Helmut Stenicka. That's a competition and solving contest in which Christopher won the third prize. So that's a great achievement by the youngster. And now I want to show you another study of his, more complex, maybe not as direct as this one, but shows his tremendous imagination. So this is the position. You can already see that there are a lot more pieces. It's white to move and win once again. So here, take your time once again. This pawn is about to queen here. This pawn is about to queen here. This king is slightly in danger. This king is also in danger. So what would you play here as white? Okay, so first thing which you should always begin with are natural moves. So rook e1 is the solution. We'll come to it. But the natural move is knight to b5 check. And after king a6, you will see that nothing much is happening, and already black has some deadly threats in the position. Next, you could think that, okay, maybe I can take my king to a5 and I can try for a checkmate here with my queen, and also knight b5 check is a threat. But then comes knight to b3, and this is what I like. There are a lot of small tricks that Christopher has. Queen a6 and c1 queen, and this is game over. So actually in this position, first position, the first move was rook to e1. There is also another try, rook e5, which is quite complicated, but king b6 seems like the right move. And after knight d5, king a6, there is this line which is quite complicated, but it turns out that at the end there is no way to checkmate the black king. It's just an equal position over here. So this is why this problem is not the most clean, because the initial, there is a lot of variations to look at, but once you get over it, in my terms, as a practical solver I am saying, but in terms of the accuracy of the problem, it's just perfect. Rook e1 is the correct move. You want to deflect the queen. The idea is that if queen into e1, which is the main move, but some people also feel like queen f4 is not so clear, well then you go king to b5, queen g5, king c4, queen f4, and knight to e4. And somehow this position is just winning over here. The queen can come to c5. There are many more threats in the position. So queen f7, king c3, knight e2. And somehow white is completely winning here. So rook e1, you must take the rook. And now look at the brilliance of this problem. King to a5. This is threatening a check here. Queen to c5 check. And so if you play queen e3, well, you can't lose the control because knight b5 is a mate. Please note that this pawn covers all the squares here. So you must keep the pin going. If knight to d3, which is the main move, we'll come to it. If rook c8, then there is check, king a6, queen f1, knight b5. This is also winning. So knight d3. And here I would like you to take some time and find the best move for white. Okay, I hope you found this amazing move, simply amazing. Queen to b4. If you take the queen, this is breaks the pin over here, and knight b5 is a mate. Christopher, I'm a big fan of this move. Great job. Queen b4, and if you don't take it, let's assume in the game he takes queen into c3. Then now another beautiful point, because if you take here, Then I think after just queen, it's not so simple anymore. But if you play c8 knight first, now the rook has to take it because it's a mate, otherwise you take, and now I take on c3. The point being that after queen, here there is this queen g7 check. This has to be seen not at all easy, and there is a mate on b7. So after queen into c3 comes the final trick, rook into c6. If you spotted all of this, amazing. Believe me, you are doing really well. Queen into c6, c1 queen, and here it seems like it should be a draw, or black has an extra piece, but check. You take this knight, and now white has two extra pawns. So in order for black to stay in the game, he must take at least one of the pawns. But Christopher has it all figured out right until the end. Queen b5 check, the queens are exchanged, and this is game over. Unbelievable complexity of this problem. This was in the World Cup that Christopher submitted this position, and he again got the third prize. There are so many famous composers in the world. You might have heard of Johann Affek, you might have heard of Oleg Parvakov, so many more, all of them are in awe of this young talent, and we have an article on ChessBase India about him as to how he began this art of composing. I'm going to put the link in the description so you can have a look at that article, and also you can download the PGN of both these problems. But for now, I would like you to think about it. This young boy, just 12 years old, is composing such beautiful problems. First one we looked at was this one, just to get you to the initial position. Yes, this one. And the second one which we looked at was this one. So both amazing problems, and I wish Christopher Yoo the best in his not just chess career but also composing career, because he is giving a lot of pleasure to all of us by composing such difficult and tricky problems.